Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video, I've got a brand new game coming in Kickstarter called Creators of the First Dawn. This is a new game by Creator Board Games. It is a 2 to 6 player game that takes roughly 1 to 2 hours to play, and is a competitive game where players are competing with each other to be the last player standing, or you can choose to break off into teams, and the last team standing will be the winning team. So in the game itself, there are 6 gods in the universe, and none of them are powerful enough to create a physical plane. But together, they can do this, so they have all agreed to do that and create the physical plane. Unfortunately, by doing that and creating underlings and all that, they have learned about greed and wanting more and more power. And so now they want control over the physical plane. And so the gods are entering into combat using powerful spells and trying to protect themselves and be the last god standing so they can have control over this physical plane and receive all of the worship and all the benefits of that. So as the players, you are going to be playing one of the powerful gods, trying to take domination over this plane by physical combat and magical spells and all kinds of other tactics that you're going to employ to try to be the last player standing. So in this video, I want to take you through the main features of the game and a sample turn to give you a good idea if this is one you would like to back on Kickstarter. As always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and be able to produce this content. If you want us to be notified anytime I release new videos, also consider ringing that bell so you notifications anytime I release new stuff. So let's head to the table and we'll see what this one's all about. The first thing I want to look at are the gods that players can play as. So each one of these works exactly the same way. There is no differences within them, but each god will have its own figure and will have a collection of underlings that you'll be able to build as the game goes on. Each god will also have access to 3 cities, which will help produce its underlings. Then each god also has a board which is going to track the 2 different types of resources you'll be able to gather throughout the game, mana and clay. Mana will be used to cast powerful spells from 3 different classes. You'll have creation classes, defense, and destruction classes. And each one of these will have 3 different levels of spells, and each one of them will have an amount that you'll have to spend in order to cast that spell. For example, with creation, this one, the first level is going to allow you to place a new tile that you can place next to your god, or build up that tile by adding another tile on top of this one. For example, placing it like that, as stacks are going to have an impact in the game, or the height of the different terrain areas are going to have an impact on the game. The second level spell will let you take a piece of terrain away from a stack, and the final level spell, Flatten, will allow you to either build a stack that is equal to another stack that's adjacent to it, or completely flatten it depending upon where you're at, and I'll explain how that works a little bit later. On the defensive side, this allows you to protect a tile and all of the little minions on it. Or you can cast this one, which will allow you to place a new underling on a tile that's adjacent to your god. Finally, you have teleport, which allows you to teleport all of your different underlings and god from one tile to another. Finally, with destruction, we have lightning bolt, which allows you to eliminate an underling, or meteor shower, which will chain together, decreasing the level of each tile it hits and eliminating all underlings on those tiles. Finally, Volcano is super powerful and will have the tile that it hits be built up to 2 levels, as well as destroying any underlings on there, and then also branching out with the lava flows, damaging and reducing each one of 3 different tiles by 2 levels, as well as eliminating all underlings on those tiles. The other resource is clay, which is going to allow you to build cities as well as building new tiles at new locations. And depending upon the city you're building, it is going to require a certain number of clay. And finally, in the middle of each board is going to be the phases in each round. You'll have 5 different phases, which consist of the resource phase, build phase, units, movement and fight, and finally fortify. And I'm going to go through each one of these a little bit later in the video to show you how they work. Next, I want to talk about the different playing areas you can play on. So this is one of the basic setups for a 3-player game, but there's all kinds of different mods that you can use that'll give you different types of build options for your world. From there, then, like I said, throughout the game, you're going to be gaining resources that you can spend to build up your environments and your different areas. So for example, you could use a create spell to place this, or you could use clay to place that. And then as you play, you'll be able to expand your area and be able to add cities to your area that will produce units, as we already covered, or underlings. Now you can also start building up your areas, as this is going to be a very important tactical advantage when you're going to in combat against an opponent, as you're going to see a little bit later in the video. But the higher you are, or as long as you're higher than your opponent, you're going to get a +1 to that combat. And then there'll be other features as well, and this is also going to help safeguard you, as a lot of spells will decrease the level of areas. And for example, with this city being only on one piece of terrain, if a meteor or something hits that and destroys that terrain, then the city is going to end up going with it, as it will fall into nothingness and be destroyed. So having a city on a higher level will also help with that, as you will lose the terrain, but the city will potentially not go with it. So the next thing I want to touch on is a very important part of the game, which is mods. So in the back of the rule book, there is going to be a whole collection of different mods that you can do on this. So including different types of ways you can build the map, different types of mods that will impact all kinds of different parts of the game, such as a clay mod, which will allow you to have industrialization, which will give you +1 clay at the beginning or at each one of your build phases. And there's all kinds of different ones that are going to add all kinds of different modifications. One of the big ones that's going to change the game is Armageddon, which will allow the game to only go 13 rounds. And then after that point, the map itself is going to start falling apart, where parts of the outer map are going to fall away, slowly closing in on the players. All of their terrain is going to start dropping as the world continues to fall apart. So all kinds of interesting things with that. The other big thing with this is that there are going to be fan mods. So if you pick up this game and you have all kinds of cool ideas that you want to add to it and things, you'll be able to implement those into your rulebook. And hopefully there'll be all kinds of different things online as well. Maybe they'll have a website, or on Board Game Geek you can post your different ideas, and it'll start a whole community thing where you'll have all kinds of different options within the game itself. All right, so the final thing I want to do is take you through a sample round. So each round is going to consist of 5 phases that are going to be done in order, and we'll always start with the player that has the first player token and proceed around the table until all players have had a chance to take that phase of the round, and then we'll move on to the next phase in that round. So I'm going to take you through each one of these to show you a little bit more how this works. And for this example, I went ahead and set some stuff up so that it simulates about the middle of the game. This is where things really start heating up. People are getting more resources and things are starting to get crazy with combat and all the other stuff. So this way I'll give you a good chance of seeing how this all works. So moving into it, we're going to go ahead and start with the purple player, as that player has the first player token, and we're going to move into the resources phase. So during this phase, you're going to gain mana and clay based on a couple of things. So first, with mana, you're going to get 1 mana for each of your underlings out there, as well as your god, and then your city is going to grant you an additional 1. So with that, we have 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. So we'll go ahead and give this guy that. And then you're going to also receive the clay, and that is going to be based on each one of the territories that has a miniature of your underling of yours on there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our player over here will receive 5 clay for that. And once that is done, then we'll move on to the next player in clockwise order to gain their resources. So moving over to orange, we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. And the cap for mana is, or for both resources, is 15. So there's 5, 10, and 12. All right, so he has got a ton. So there's going to be some crazy spell casting going on here. And he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for clay. And finally, our last player is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for his. It's 4 and 5 more. And then he will also get 1, 2, 3, 4 clay. All right. From there, then it's going to move into the next phase, which is the build phase. During this phase, you can spend your clay and potentially some of your mana, if you want to do some buildings in that, to building up some of your territories, as it will be important later on in combat. The player that has the highest stack or that attacks from it will get a +1 bonus to that. So having height is a good option for being able to work in combat, as well as some of the other effects that will cause terrain to drop. If you run out of terrain, then everything dies that's on that space. So building up is never a bad choice. So with this player, we have 6 mana, so he is going to go ahead and decide to spend all of that to build his final city. He's going to go ahead and place that here, as that is a really nice high area for him to do so. And then we have some other stuff. So we have plenty of spell power here. We have 10. And another big thing with this is that from phases 2 to 5, you can cast spells. So you can do that anytime during your turn. Now, outside of your turn, you're only going to be able to cast defensive spells, and also having mana around for that is also going to be important, as some of our players have a lot of mana to really throw around here. So we might be able to see some pretty big fireworks here. So purple, I think, is going to hold out at this point. We don't really want to do too much yet, I think, as some of the other players, like I said, have a lot there. There could be some big stuff. So he's going to go ahead and pass at this point over to orange to go for their build phase. So orange has a total of 5 clay that he could spend to do some stuff with. So he is going to go ahead, I think he's going to spend a couple of those to build up a couple of territories. So he's going to go ahead and plot a couple more down here to build that up a little bit. And he's going to go ahead and start off, I think he'll start off big. He's going to go ahead and do a volcano. So that's going to cost 10 mana. So there's 7, 8, 9, and 10. So that's a lot of mana there. Now, the big thing with the volcano is that you cannot stop it. You can just get out of the way. So he has to choose one space that's within his area to place the volcano. So he's going to go ahead and place that here. And then from there, then it's going to hit 3 adjacent spaces. So he's going to go ahead and target this space up here, that space, and that space. Then each one of the opponents that it's targeting can choose to spend any mana that they have for defensive spells, if there's anything they can do to kind of help with that. So first off, moving over to blue, because he's going to be the next to go that this spell is going to impact, as he'll handle that right away. He's going to go ahead and do a teleport spell, as that's the only thing that's going to be effective against the volcano, is just basically getting out of that space. So he's going to go ahead and spend 4 to do that, and that lets him move all of his units from his space to one adjacent space. So he's going to go ahead and shift them. He's going to shift them over here. And then over to purple to go. Purple is going to do the same thing and teleport. He's going to go ahead and teleport over to this space here. Well, no, let's not do that just yet. Let's go ahead and move back here. Oh, we'll move straight back. All right, and then we also have that space there that we have to figure out if we're doing anything with, but I think he's going to let that one go. So then we're going to resolve the effects of the spell. So the place that it hits is going to eliminate units that are on there. So orange has sacrificed 2 of his underlings to do so, but that space is also going to be built up by 2 pieces of terrain. Then each one of the spaces that are hit are going to, all underlings on those spaces are going to die. Any cities on those spaces will be destroyed. And each one of those areas is going to lose 2 levels to it. So those are all going to go ahead and drop down by 2. All right, so that was very powerful. Then it is still his turn, so he still has a few points left that either he could spend at this point or hold on to. He is going to go ahead and spend another clay to build up his location by 1, giving him some more height on that location. And I think he's going to hold on to the rest of that. So then we're going to move over to blue to go. And blue is going to go ahead and start off by spending a couple more to build up his area. He's going to add 2 to that location. And he'll also spend 2 to place a city there. So that's going to give him a little bit more height on that spot there. And I think we're good there. I don't think I'm going to cast any spells yet with that. So that'll complete his build phase. And then we'll move back over to purple to start with units. So from here, then each player's cities is going to make a underling as long as they don't have 3 underlings on there already. So each, whoop, not that one. So over to orange. Orange is going to have, orange has 2 cities. So he's going to build up there. And blue also has 2 cities. So they're going to build there. All right. Nobody else is going to do anything else. So then we're moving on to move and fight. So from here, it's going to start off with purple to go first for that. So let's see. Moving and fighting. What do I want to do here? Purple's going to go ahead and move up to there. And I'm going to go ahead and spend 4 to teleport up to here. And then I will go ahead and move from there onto this space. So that's going to initiate a combat there. So let's go ahead and resolve that so you can kind of see how combat works. So first off, you're going to total up the number of models that are on each one of the, or by each faction. So we have 3 orange models and purple has 4. Then whoever has the height on the other, if any, is going to get a point. And then if one of the location, or each location that has a city would also get an additional point. So at this point, we're at 3 to 5. So then the difference in that, whoever wins that, the difference of it is the number of models that are going to survive. So 2 of purple's models are going to survive, and all of orange is going to go away. So I'll go ahead and lose 2 minions. And then they are going to move into that space from there. All right. And then I think I'll move these 2 up here as well. I'll move 1 over here so that way I can maximize my area. All right, I think that'll be it for purple. So then it's going to go over to orange to go. So orange is looking at these 2 here, and he's got a lot going on. So he's definitely at a disadvantage here by 1, but he sees over here that purple is there, so he's going to go ahead and attack purple instead. So again, we'll move into combat at this point. So orange has 4 models to purple's 2. He also, nobody gets any higher ground as they are level, but he does have the city that he's attacking from. So that'll give him 5 points to blue, or to purple's 2. So he's going to win by 3. So he's only going to lose 1 model. Purple is going to lose both of his. His god will move back to his starting location as long as he has underlings out on the map. And then again, orange must move over here. Orange will also... I think that is about it for now for orange. So then it's over to blue to go, and blue is going to, he'll move all his units into here, which will destroy that city. And he's going to go ahead and stop there. And as far as other movements, he's going to go ahead and attack here. So again, with that, purple has 1 plus higher ground. Blue has the city plus 4 models. So he's going to win by 2, so he'll lose 1 model there and move up. So purple is on the ropes. Not looking good for purple. All right. I think that is all blue is going to do at this point. No. Blue spends 2 to cast a minion creation spell. All right, that'll be it for that. So then we're going to move on to the final phase in the round, which is Fortify, which again allows you to build up using either mana or your clay again. So with purple, purple's only got 2 mana left. I think we're going to hold on to the rest of that currently. Moving over to orange to go. Orange is going to go ahead and spend 2. Well, he'll spend 1 mana first to build up another level here, and then he's going to go ahead and spend 2 clay to make a fortress there. And then he's going to go ahead and he'll spend 2 to do a lightning bolt onto one of these underlings. So that'll be this one here. And then it'll go to blue, who is going to spend 2 to protect that underling. So then it would move back to orange. So if orange had more mana, he could spend that to continue to spam that lightning, and whoever, it just keeps stacking from there. So whoever either runs out of mana or chooses not to cast anymore. But orange does not have, only has 1 left, so he can't do anything else there. So blue has prevented that from happening. All right, that's all he's going to do at this point. So moving over to blue to go for their final part of this. So blue is going to do the same thing. He's going to go ahead and do a lightning bolt onto, he'll do it on this unit here. That'll eliminate the unit as the other player doesn't have enough mana to cast that protection. And so then he has 1 point left. So he's going to go ahead and spend that as well to add another level to his location. Starting to build that up. All right, that will be the end of that round. And so then the first player token would pass to the next player in clockwise order, and we'd start a new round at that point. And like I said, purple's looking pretty rough, so this might come down to either orange or blue pulling this one out. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please post those in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Or swing by Kickstarter's main page and drop any questions you have there in the comment section, as I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you, and they're more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until next time, I'll see you later.